All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to all the Akim that pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, I just want to really want to chime in on this article. It stuck out in the spirit, of course. More evidence, foolproof evidence that America is basically falling, is being crushed little by little. Locally, in these, municipalities, so to speak, these cities, the government, on hold, these elites are losing their grip on America, and it's getting harder for, us brothers in the faith that are of the hopeful elect, due to the fact that, when societies crash and when things fall, the shock waves, first and foremost, get pushes on the common citizen, and that's why I'm gonna entitle this lesson. Basically, it's only one way to basically get out the clutches of this so-called white man in this system. Is through the power, spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. When we was in ancient Babylon, we couldn't elevate ourselves financially, economically, to get up out of the cusp of that hell in Babylon. Same thing with the Medo-Persian joint kingdom. Same thing with Greece and Rome. Those kingdoms, when we were in them, they were basically an albatross on our neck. It was a constant vex. They were a thorn on in the side of us as a nation. Anything that we did as a people, it was hard. And one major thing which this article is going to go into, that all these nations put on us, was heavy taxes, man. They put us under tribute, which when you go into tributaries, that's taxpayers. So it says taxpayers in America's 10 biggest cities face an average per taxpayer debt burden of $50,000 in debt incurred by the country, state, and or off balance sheets transactions by city government entities, according to the Truth in Accounting. The taxpayer burden, TIA explains, is the amount residents will have to pay to cover all of government debt when the unfunded debt of these underlying government units is combined with the country, county, municipal, and state debt. City taxpayers are on the hook for much more than they think, according to TIA. I'm going to jump down to part with Chicago. Chicago taxpayers burden equates to $119,000 in debt per taxpayer, a number that includes debt from Chicago public schools and the state of Illinois. Bergmans said the most significant burden on taxpayers is from CPS. He added CPS has separate financial ledgers. Right, and the hell that's being thrown on these taxpayers is not due to these taxpayers basically being irrational and not being good with the money. Is going towards the federal budget, and what they can't actually fully take care of. The debt is falling on you American citizens, man. And it's used in all kind of eloquent speech, eloquent words, as it is written in Daniel the 8th chapter. Through his policy, he shall destroy many. Through peace he shall destroy many, and it's all through his policy. And this is one of the main policies, because politics goes into what? Politics. All right, and taxes and all these different things, those are forms of politics, because politis goes into what? The people. All right, politis deals with the city's citizens and what goes on in the common man's household, what they have to deal with. And you see in these different cities, the citizens or the people are catching all manner of hell, man. All right, and when you go to the debt clock, you see that the American debt clock is still running up. I looked at it, it was 22 trillion. The federal debt, 22 trillion, and the numbers are constantly going up. Then they said the average debt per citizen, like on this article, was said around 50,000. but in certain areas it's even higher. So these are the top, taxpayer burdens, according to public schools and all these different things, added up, and you see it's $119,000 per taxpayer. And I'm gonna jump down to this point. It says, following Chicago, New York's combined taxpayer burden, 85,600. Los Angeles combined taxpayers, 56,390. Philadelphia combined taxpayers, 50,000. Here's a rank of the combined taxpayer burdens for taxpayers living in the 10 largest cities from best to worst. Number 1, Phoenix, negative 13,000. San Antonio, 16,000 negative. Houston, negative 22,940. Dallas, negative 33,000. San Diego, negative 35,000. San Jose, negative 43. Philly, 50,000 negative. LA, negative 56. New York, negative 85. And Chicago, 119,000 negative. And I mainly wanted to highlight that, just to show you that it's getting bad out here, man. It's horrible out here. It's going to get nothing but worse. 2 Ezra, the 19th chapter says, all kingdoms have a beginning and an end. The end is being manifest, and it's being manifest before our eyes that this place is falling, man. It's crumbling. Like I said, city by city, state by state. I'm going to continue on. It says, the debt facing school districts in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio don't add nearly as much to the total debt burden facing taxpayers in those cities as most others of the largest 10 cities we studied. Bergman added, still one might have expected better overall financial conditions for those Texas cities in light of economic and demographic trends in the last decade. Right, so one would believe that the conditions of Texas and certain cities would be a lot better due to the, like I said, the trendings, due to the attractions and all these, all these things that these cities actually bring to the federal economy. How they actually bring, funds, so to speak, to these different, to the state alone, to the bordering states, and federally. You would think that these cities would be in a way better state, but they're not. So this shows that this society is all smoke and mirrors. What you believe, the status that you believe America is in, is a total facade. America is basically a third world country. You're living in the worst conditions possible, especially this generation. And this part of the article is going to highlight that also. It says, for these cities to pay off its debts, each taxpayer would need to fork over around $50,000 each. Zero hedge readers understand $60,000 of millennials don't have $500 in savings ahead of this next recession. Right. So in order for these cities to get back on board, each and every individual will have to fork over 50 racks. And these people are over $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in debt, leaving these college institutions, man. Like I said, they don't even have $500 in their primary accounts, whether it's checking and savings, to actually pay off debts or get these cities going. So what's going to happen? The government is going to resort to austerity measures. You had earlier this year where Donald Trump shut down the government, which was a form of an austerity measure, and he basically demanded money to fund the wall. Now it's going to get a lot worse than that. That was just a preface or a prelude to the to more basically hell that's going to come. All right, because America's losing its grips agriculturally, economically, militarily, and they're going to place the blame on certain people. That's why it says the taxpayers. That's why you have also executive orders from when a society collapses and it's in a bad part or in a bad state, that people will be drafted to the military. People will be have to work federally on bridges and work through the city's will through these different executive orders, and they don't have any say so. You as an American citizen, you have no you have no freedom of speech. You really don't have any rights at this apparent time. Everything that you have is being hacked and looked at, traced, and tracked. This is a dystopian society, and it's going to get worse and worse. So it says, so obviously this deadbeat generation that is expecting to take over the workforce by 2024 won't have the ability to bail out America's deadbeat cities in the next downturn, which leave us with the question of the day. Will the Federal Reserve bail out heavily indebted cities in the next crisis? And the answer is no. You know, these elites are money-hungry bastards. And the money that they're actually, they have spiraling, which is these Federal Reserve notes, that itself is waxing weak. And that's according to biblical prophecy also. James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. And who are the rich men? That will be your elitists, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimer families, the Gettys, the DuPonts, Vanderbilts. All these are multi-billion-dollar families. And if you want to be technical, they have enough money to bail out the U.S. government. But see, they have plans to usher in of collapsing this economy to reintroduce a new system and a new monetary style of currency, which that currency will be microchipping and transactions through basically chips. So it says your riches are corrupted, and the riches are what? The money. All right. You had a couple years ago, you had quantitative easing. You know, I think it went to QE4, then it went to QE Unlimited, which was mass producing of Federal Reserves to actually basically push out in the economy to level the playing field, which in turn that's what results in inflation, man. You had the country of Zimbabwe years ago, decades ago, that they had you know, their currency was fluctuating for a time, and then it collapsed. And that same thing is going to happen to America. So the riches of America are corrupted, and it says, "And your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and silver is cankered." And that also happened in ancient Rome. When Rome fell, one of the main things was what? The fall of the denarius, all right, which would be the gold and silver standard at that time. It says, "And the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped together treasure together. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entering to the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." And the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth is Yahweh Shai. All right, the word Sabaoth goes into the Lord of armies. All right, and the Lord of armies is going to free us and redeem us from this wretched captivity out of these debts, all right, and punish the wicked, all right, because this so-called white man has us in the grips and the grasp of his society, and he doesn't want to let us go, just like in ancient Egypt. Moses came personally to Pharaoh and told him on numerous occasions to let the Israelites go, and Pharaoh batted the hand. So how much more of these elites that took down the ancient empires, the ancient Egyptians, Medes, Persians, they have the ancient ideologies and the worships and the spirit of these ancient kingdoms generate in their society. They have a high level of pride, and the Most High Yahweh Shema Shai is going to crush that pride, and he's going to free us out of this captivity. So you know, you brothers that's basically feeling the direct or indirect whippings of America, you know, hold fast, man, you know, because this society is on its way out, and we have to, you know, as it is written, the hell is going to be like a woman in travail until it basically brings forth the son, and the son is Yahweh Shai that's going to be delivered to deliver us. So I want to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shai by Shema Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.